Hey y'all! Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics and something that I'm always working on, embodied living. I feel like all of my work with yoga and tarot, mindfulness and art making are always leading back to this and connecting at this point. So this video is really just going to be a primer because coming from a Western paradigm, it's a very different way of being in both large and subtle ways. And for this reason, I think for most of us, it's an ongoing practice throughout life rather than a sustainable state of being that we achieve. In the West, we generally think of the mind and body as separate things. And as a result of centuries of scientific and philosophical discourses, we tend to apply a hierarchical relationship to these things. I think, therefore I am. Does that sound familiar? So whether we're aware of it or not, we see that there's our mind and then our body is lesser than that. Our body is something that's functional. It gets us from point A to point B, or it's something to control through exercise and diet. And then we have all these messy animal functions to our body that we want to suppress and ignore. And then there's our amazing rational mind with all of its logical capacities. So even though we haven't transcended the body, we certainly discount it. We definitely live up in our mind rather than our body and the world around us. So when we're talking about embodiment and embodied living, that's something totally different. This is a way of looking at ourselves as integrated, not just mind, body, spirit, but in the world around us. We're not separate from our physical selves. We're not separate from the world. We're fully alive and present, experiencing things through all of our senses. And that's a lot easier said than done. Cultivating embodiment is work, and it's ongoing work. For a lot of us, we've become very cut off from the sensations and signals of our body. We've lost touch with the intelligence that lives deep within us and in our senses. And this can happen for so many reasons and combination of reasons. Socialization is a big piece, and we've already talked about this a little bit. We simply can't practice what we haven't been taught. And then there's trauma, shame, and mistrust of the body. All of these can really pile on and cut us off further from embodiment. And it's a lot to dig through. It doesn't happen overnight that we unpack all of this. And often we need to do that with professional guidance. We are taught and we recreate these patterns of being. And often, unwittingly, we continue to recreate them even when we're trying to break the patterns. A great example of this is you say, okay, I want to be more embodied. I'm going to start meditating. So you sit down, you close your eyes, you start meditating, and you work to control the mind with the mind. And don't get me wrong, this is a great practice. I engage with it too, but it's still bringing all the focus up to the mind and what is going on. There are so many mindfulness practices and meditation practices that can drop you down into your body. So I really encourage you to go out and start exploring different ways of meditating, looking for ways that get you into that embodied sense of self, and then even move you past your body and get you out into the world around you. And beyond meditation, there's so many ways to start to practice embodied living and waking up these mind, body, spirit connections within you. A lot of movement practices like yoga, yin yoga, somatics, qigong, or even just moving intuitively or dancing around your living room are all great ways to get started. It doesn't so much matter what you're doing as it matters that you're able to do it with intention and to do it in a way where you're listening to yourself and checking in for the signals from your body. And in that way, you start to open up communication with your whole self and build trust with your embodied physical being. And I mean this quite literally. actually striking up a conversation with your body and opening up these channels of communication. So I'll give you an example. When I'm teaching Baddha Konasana in a yoga class, and this is really how I would generally teach it, is, bring the soles of your feet together, knees out wide, hands on your ankles. Inhale to sit tall. And then on the exhale, we bow forward. Find your edge and back off a little bit. And now just breathe into this space, breathing down into the hips. Feeling the sensation. And after we've been here a few breaths, now we ask our body, is there room to go a little bit further? Is there a new edge to meet? And listen for that answer. Really ask yourself and hear, is there an embodied yes, a no, a maybe? Whatever that is, honor it. If it is a yes, breathe into the shape a little deeper. If it's a no or a maybe that's really a probably not, honor that. Don't push past it. Whatever the answer is, meet it with gratitude. Always thank your body for these communications. And through this practice, then we start to cultivate trust with the body, and we start to open up these channels of communication with the physical sense and tune into the wisdom of the senses. And then how do you extend this work outward? How do you use this to not just start to integrate with your physical self, but with the world around you? And this is the foundation of embodied living. These are the baby steps that start to rebuild these lost connections with ourself and with the world around us. So thank you so much for watching this video today. I'd love to hear what it brought up for you. Please let me know in the comments. Until next time.